Alright, today we're going to be starting an assignment in PowerPoint, our first PowerPoint assignment. So this is the one where I will be guiding you through step by step, and we're going to be learning our first presentation. So we are getting new devices sometime soon, and they will be Chromebooks, and Chromebooks do not have access to the traditional installed Microsoft Office tools that we've been using. So like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, the apps that you would install on a computer, that's not possible on a Chromebook. So today we're going to be using what we'll eventually be using on our Chromebooks, which is an online app version of the PowerPoint program. So to access that, you'll be going to office.com, and there will be a login button here. So you're going to sign in. It's going to ask you what your email address is, and I want to use a different email account. So let's see. Let me go back. I want a different account. So your email address is going to be your very similar to your school email. So it'll be first name, period, last name. Mine's the first initial, last name. And then at CCS Goshen, so far very similar. Then you're going to add the dot and then on Microsoft.com. So that last part is your Microsoft address. So it's your email address with the addition of onmicrosoft.com instead of .org. Then you're going to click sign in. So it didn't give me the password screen since I'm already logged in. So you will need to put in your password. We did this earlier in the school year, so hopefully you remember your password. If not, let me know and I'll have to reset it. If you haven't changed it, then the password is password123 with a capital P. But most of your accounts, I required you to change your password, so if you forgot what that was, I'll have to reset it for you. Alright, so we're going to start with PowerPoint. So this is your home screen, and the tools we're using are called Office 365. So it has Word, Excel, and PowerPoint as three of the apps. Then you also have OneDrive, which is where you'll store all your files, which is similar to Google Drive, but it's Microsoft's version. Then you have a couple other ones, OneNote, which is a note-taking app, and Sway, which I'm not sure what that is. So we're going to create a PowerPoint from scratch. So we're going to click on PowerPoint. Now, here we're going to choose a specific theme. So this can be changed later, but we want to start with a specific theme in mind. And we're searching for one that's called Facet. So F-A-C-E-T. So I'm going to press search, and it'll have 0 results. So it's not found in this default library. So you can go to More Themes and type Facet, and still no results. So if you go back and then scroll down to the very bottom of this list of themes, you can explore all templates and themes. And here we're going to search for Facet. And here we will find it. So this is the theme we're looking for. So we're going to click on this and choose to edit in browser. So don't download. We're just going to edit, open this right in the browser. And it's asking me to sign in again. So here we have our presentation that we're starting, and this is the theme that we chose, Facet. This designer thing pops up very frequently, so we're going to just X out of that. And I'm going to zoom in. Well, actually, I'll wait for a little bit. So we're going to click in this space here to add a title. We're going to type in here your travel. No, sorry. With the company name first. Kodiak West. Now this is a made up travel agency. It's just kind of make believe. And then we're going to type in the subtitle, your travel, enter, and then your way. So it's a title and a subtitle. Now we want to save before we get too far along. We want to change the name. So this is automatically saved. After every change that you make, it's just automatically saved, just like a Google Doc would be, but it's saved to OneDrive. So you don't have to worry about clicking save. It just automatically saves to the cloud. But we do want to rename it. So you can click here. That's one way to rename it, and then just change the name. You can also go to the File tab, click on Rename, and then this Rename button, and then you can change the name. So whichever way you choose to do it, we're going to rename this with your last name, first name. So Vigil, Mr. And then I want to include the document number. So this is 1A. That's the most important part of this. It also has more in the name to it, so I'm going to add the KWT overview, which is what it instructs me to save it as in the instructions. As long as you have your name and which assignment it is, so the number and the letter for that project, that's as much as I need to know. Then I'm going to click OK. So now we'll update that with the new name up here. So now that we have this part, we're going to actually change the theme. So to change the theme, it's really easy. We're going to go to the Design tab at the top. Oh, one more thing before I move on. You may not see the ribbon the same. So I've already changed my ribbon. So if yours looks more like this is a simplified ribbon. So the buttons are just more simplified. I'm going to change that to use the traditional ribbon. So I'm going to click on this single line ribbon option. And then it's going to switch back to the classic ribbon. Click OK. So now you have these tabs and then the buttons. This is more what we're used to seeing in these types of programs. So go to the Design tab, and in the Themes, we're going to click on the arrow button to see more themes. And what we're looking for is this one called Organic. So click on that. It'll take a few seconds, and it will change your theme. And again, the designer thing came up, so I'm going to close that. All right, now this is our title screen. We're going to leave that as is, but we're going to add a new slide. So to add a new slide, that's on the Home tab. And then you have the Slides group. We're going to click on New Slide. Then from the list, you might need to scroll down a little bit. We're looking for the panoramic picture with caption. Select that option and then choose Add Slide. Now we're going to click where it says click to add title, and we're going to type in your dreams. Now the next part of this is a little bit small, so I'm going to zoom in. So the next part of this is a sentence here, so we're going to type in whether you want to trek on a glacier or spend your time in quiet solitude. Kodiak West travel can make your dream a reality. Period. So I'll give you a few seconds to type that out. If you get bogged down with typing, I would encourage you to just move on to the next step, then come back if you have time and type all of this in. But if it takes you like 20 minutes to type, I would encourage you to skip it. That way you can at least turn in the main portion of the assignment, even if you haven't completely typed everything out. All right, so now we're going to go to the new slide button. We're going to insert another slide. We want this to be title and content. So I'm going to scroll up. It's this one here, select it, then add slide. I'm going to click where it says click to add title, and I'm going to type our expertise. Now in the next portion, in the other box, there's a bulleted list that's already started for us. So I'm going to start typing over 20 years experience in the travel industry. Now we're going to press enter, and notice it assumes we want to continue the bulleted list, and it's going to be in line with the previous text. I want to change that. I'm going to increase the list level, so it's actually going to become a child of this parent bullet point. So it's going to be indented. To do that, there's a couple ways. The easiest way and the quickest way is probably to press the tab key on your keyboard. It shifts over, and the bullet point is actually a little bit smaller. So this is like a subcategory of the original bullet point. So I'm going to type this: Certified Travel Associates. Then press enter, and PowerPoint assumes I want to continue in this same bulleted list. So to add another sub bullet, but I actually want to start a new one. So I want to decrease the list level. The way you do that is go to the paragraph group on the home tab, and there's a decrease list level and increase list level button. I want to decrease so that it goes to the left. I'm going to type in this next bullet point. Oops, I need specializing in land and sea travel. Then press enter, and then we need a sub bullet point. So I'm going to use the button this time to increase the list level, to shift it over. And then type in Pacific Northwest, including US and Canada. Alright, so we're done with that text in that box. The next thing we're going to talk about is the notes panel. So notes would be used in your presentation. As you're giving it, you would add some notes if you want to include a specific blurb or whatever you want to say. So the notes is found at the bottom. There's a little notes button. You're going to click that to expand it, and you have this little area to type in. Now I'm not going to expect you to type all of this in because it's very hard to see, but just type something in here to include some text in the notes area. Mine says to type in Kodiak West Travel has locations in Juneau, Anchorage, and Victoria. So that is a note. So that doesn't show up on the slide. It's only during the presentation that you would see that. So I'm going to click the notes button to hide that again. Now we're going to display slide number 2. And we have a placeholder here for an image. So the next thing we're going to do is, actually we're going to add, before we do that, I just wanted to bring your attention to the screen tips that we can see if we hover over. These are called thumbnails. So a thumbnail is a smaller version of the overall slide. So if I click on one of the thumbnails, the slide appears in the main slide panel, so you can see the full screen version of that. So these smaller versions are called thumbnails. If you scroll over one, it will have the title, so you can quickly navigate to the specific one that you want to get to. Alright, so we're going to go to slide 2, and we're going to scroll to the bottom. We're going to actually add another sentence to the end of the text that's already there. So at the end of the period, we're going to add a space after that. Then type, if you can dream it, comma, we can help you get there, period. Now we're going to go to slide 3. And we're going to create a new slide. So we're going to go to the Home tab, click on the New Slide button. And we want section header, this one here, add slide. I'm going to click to add the title, about our company. And then we're going to again add a bunch of text. So again, if you get bogged down with this, just type some and then move on to the next step so you don't get too far behind. And you can always turn something in with just not as much text to get some credit. Alright, so you may not have noticed while you were typing, but if you run out of space, you're typing in a box, it will start to make your text smaller to where it fits inside the box. So if you want your text to be larger or stay that font size, you need to expand the box. So if I make this larger, the text or the font size actually increases. I'm going to undo that to go back to the original size. Alright, so now we're going to move on to slide 1. We're going to add the word travel at the end of Kodiak West. Now we're going to display slide 2, and we're going to add our picture. So we're going to click on this little icon here, which means you would add it from your computer device. It's going to ask us where our file is from, so we need to choose a file. It's going to open up a Windows browser, and this is where you would go to where you downloaded it, so probably go to the downloads folder. Mine is open to the correct folder already, so I'm going to click on 1A Glacier. That's the one you want to insert. And click open. It will display that image name here, make sure it's the correct one, and then click insert. It's going to stretch the image out to fit that placeholder. And again, the designer panel came up, so I'm going to click to close that. So now we're going to display slide 3. We're going to add a new slide. So we're going to click on the new slide button again. And we want title and content. So we're looking for this option here. Click to add slide. We're going to add a title. It's called Your Vacation. Then we're going to add a picture. Instead of adding bullet points, we're going to use this placeholder to add an image. So I'm going to click on the same button I clicked before. Choose a file. This time I'm looking for 1A Bay. So this image here. Click insert. Alright, now the next part of this, we're going to add some style to the image. Since you just inserted it, it should be selected. You'll see these little resize handles here showing that it's selected, and you also have some picture tools and a special tab for the picture called Format. If you don't see that, that means your picture is not selected. That only shows up if the image is selected. So if you click anywhere outside the image, it will deselect it. Then you want to click on the image again to select it. And we're going to go to the Format tab. And we're going to look at the picture styles. So I'm going to expand that gallery by clicking on the arrow. And if you scroll over these, it will have a screen tip that tells you what it is. So in our instructions, the ones that are typed out on paper, it may tell you a specific row and column, but that might not match up with this program. So what we're more interested in is the name. So we're looking for simple black frame. So I already know this because I've clicked on it before, but it's found right here. Simple black frame, or simple frame black. We're going to click on that, and it will add a simple black border around our image. Now the next step that's in the instructions, we actually can't do because we don't have the button for it. So I'll show you in the Windows installed version. So I have an image here, I've already added a border. So the next step asks us to add an artistic effect. So we'll be able to change it to something like a pencil drawing or a painting looking thing. That option does not exist in the online version. So if you ever run into something where it's not possible, it's probable that I want you to skip that and just not do it if there's not the same button available. But I will also try to edit our assignments so that those steps will just be crossed off. So that's all we're going to be doing to the image right now. We're going to move on to, we're going to go to slide 4. So we're already there. Already did that, so we can't do that. Moving on. Okay, so I think we have everything. We have 5 slides. Should have 5 slides. Now we're ready to review our work. So I'm going to display this full screen so you can see the full slide there. So to present your PowerPoint, there's a couple ways to do it. In the traditional PowerPoint program, I'll show you again, there was actually a tab for slideshow. That does not exist in the online one. There's no slideshow tab. But there is a view tab, and inside that are the start slideshow options. So you can start from the beginning or from the current slide. The other way to quickly start a PowerPoint, down here in the lower right hand corner, you can start the slideshow there as well. So we're going to click this start the slideshow. It's going to take over your screen, and so you can see the full screen version of your slides. And to navigate through them, there's a few ways you could do it. You can click to advance, so you're using your mouse click, or you can also use the space bar to advance the slide to the next slide. The other way you can do it is to use your arrow keys. So the right arrow will advance to the next slide, your left arrow will go to the previous slide. So using those three ways, you can navigate through your presentation. There's also some navigation buttons. If you'll scroll your mouse to the lower left-hand corner, you have some arrow buttons to go forward or backwards. You also have the option to display thumbnails and quickly go to a specific slide. You also have the option to annotate or highlight different things, and you can record a presentation, which one I'm not going to do now, and the last one here is to close your slideshow. The other way to close your slideshow is press escape, or when you get to the last slide, it will say click to exit. So you can click there to exit. Alright, that completes your first PowerPoint project. You are done. So how do you turn this in? There's a couple ways to do that. First, since this is an online tool, it's based in the cloud, you can share this document. So to share it, you would go to the File tab, then go to Share, and Share with People. Then you can enter my email address, pvigil@ccsgoshen.org, and send me the link to your document so I can view it. That's one way to turn it in. The other way is to copy the link and then you would go to Google Classroom and attach this link to your assignment and turn it in. So those are two ways to share the online version of your project. The other way you could do it is to download a copy. So you can download as copy, and it will download a PowerPoint presentation. Then you would upload this file to Google Classroom to turn it in. So in most circumstances, I want you to turn your assignments in digitally. That means you're not going to be printing them out. But if you were to print them out, I would need to have your name somewhere on your slides. So I'm going to show you how to add your name to the footer. You're going to go to the Insert tab, click on Footer, and then go to the footer. You want to click this checkbox and add your name and the project number to the footer. So this is project 1A, and then you would add your name to it. Apply to all slides so that it shows up on every slide. And then you can print this. So if I ever ask you to print, you go to File and then Print. And then I will always have you print handouts so that you can include more than one slide on one page. and then it should have your name ever so small in the left-hand corner of your slide so I can see whose is whose. But most of the time we will not be printing. That's just in the case that you want to print. Alright, so we're finished, but make sure that you upload or share your project with me through Google Classroom to turn it in.